Okay, does this work now? Ah, man. Yes. Yes, kids unplugging stuff so they could play Gang Beasts. This is a problem. You can plug your mics back in, I know. Listen, at least it's an improvement on what Windows used to be, where you would have to literally reboot your computer to make some of these devices work. Okay, look at this. My margin, my target delta V is 35 meters per second. I have 52 meters per second of delta V left. Hey, so good evening, or good afternoon. It's 3:43, so technically good afternoon. It's Sandbeast, Rabid Fox, Josh with that blue .D cold reactor, Commander Gif, Black Belt First, Zoo named Quirdy the Pie, Hickens, Soccer Train. Hello! So those of you who haven't been following my series, where have you been? Nobody's been watching. No, my series is currently basically going to every single planet in the Kerbin system using a single spacecraft that has only 3 pieces. So, yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, but it's also kind of boring. So, you know, if you like to see me do these things, then this is what you want to... So this spacecraft down here has only 3 parts. Obviously, this thing here that's fueling it has a few more parts. But I am not allowed to use extra fuel from things. How many planetoids have I been to? Well, if you had been watching the series previously on YouTube, you would know that I've been to the Moon, Minmus, Ike, Duna, Drez, Bop, Paul, Tylo, and Val. Right? So what I've got left is Laythe, Elu, Moho, Gilly, and Eve. You know what? Let's just make a prograde burn now. It's 244 meters per second. It should be fine. So we're gonna make a burn and take us out. I'm just gonna eyeball this thing. You put a 20-minute space shuttle, what, Atlantis, if you ever want it for one of your scientific videos. Well, thank you. Oh, wow. Already there, almost. So this thing is slightly in front of me. I'm just going to slow down until I get an encounter with it, right? That is a pretty good encounter, I think you'll agree. So we're going to set it up along the maneuver. Now, worth noting that I don't have any electric charge, any electric power generation on this thing. Yeah, they almost missed this. The Antares launch almost missed this morning because of a wayward boat, but they stuck with it. Chasing after Laythe. Where is it? Chasing after Laythe. There it is. It's chasing after me, actually, because I'm going slightly slower. So yeah, SpaceX will be launching a mysterious payload called Zuma, which is presumably a military payload of sorts. Oh, look at this! Look at how close I am to the Laythe depot. Man! Set that as my target. Set as target. Look at how close. We're going to come within 13 kilometers of that target. 8 kilometers, that's right. Why do I wear headphones like that? Because I have many years of DJ experience. And DJs tend to have one headphone on one ear listening to the mix and the other ear listening to the party. So you're listening to 2 different sounds and you're trying to reconcile them. Some DJs like to have like one song in one ear and one song in the other ear, but I've never done like that. I've always been a party kind of guy. Now, so you see, I'm actually flying in this rendezvous. Oh, there we go. Right, okay, so we just gotta... 0.1 kilometers. Beautiful. First time I've not been working while you stream. Let's do this. Oh, let's do this. Okay, that's us. Pretty good. Oh, P-A-R-T. Why? Why? Because I gotta. I remember The Mask when it was a comic book by Dark Horse Comics, long before it was a movie, followed by a lesser movie, followed by an incredibly mediocre direct-to-video movie. But the first movie was actually pretty good. You know what, actually, you know what might be a good Mask adaptation? It'd be kind of cool, I think, for Telltale. I mean, I know they've had some issues, but you know, that's one property I think Telltale could probably do a good business with. What are my opinions on the Principia mod? It's kind of annoying to work with, but it's really, really good to have. That's what I'm going to say. I'm really happy that he's done the work on it, but I don't always use it simply because effort. So now, the landmass that I need to aim for. What are my options? It's ideal if I land on a landmass, and the reason is I know that my cars work. Whereas I don't know that they necessarily work on the water. So we're going to bring this down. And I think 35 kilometers over the target is probably the altitude I want to be at. I gotta keep my wits about me. I'm just kidding. Oh look, what's that there? Oh, that might be a test thing. Did I leave a test spacecraft there? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I didn't realize I'd left a test vehicle there. I think I might have... I wonder if that's the one that can land in the water. I guess I'm gonna land in the water! Excellent! If I turn on... do you think I could fly this back into orbit? I'm really curious as to figure out. So, maybe this thing just has enough delta V to get up already. I'm gonna try this, right? But I've saved, right? This is what I'm saying. Kind of in the lower atmosphere here. And let's just do this. So I have one... Yeah, this is not going to be able to get into orbit, basically. But, oh, actually, if I switch to orbit... Oh, no, 860, yeah. Now, the Laythe depot... Here's a crazy idea. Here is a really crazy idea. Let's try it, right? Laythe depot is coming up. What I'm thinking is that maybe I can rendezvous these two things in a suborbital trajectory. What do you think? Should we go for it? That is just like dumb enough for me to try it. Okay, set as target, right? So where is it? That'll be me there, and that'll be me there. So this thing needs to slow down to catch me. Okay, so that's me. Now I'm going to set that. I'm going to just set it to hold as target, right? Switch to. Okay, suborbital refueling is go. Not gonna crash. I am not gonna crash. Don't worry. So time to Apple Apps is 2 minutes. So we're... We're totally gonna pluck this thing out of orbit. Crap! Oh crap, retrograde. Ugh! I went and pushed it. We're drinking tea right now because I'm actually feeling a little sick. Okay, RCS. Now this thing is still aiming at the target. This thing now needs to aim at the target. Claw needs to be armed. Make sure it has remained armed. I'm going to disarm and then arm it because I've seen that bug happen. Arm. We don't have many opportunities to get this wrong, I guess is what I'm saying. We don't have much room for error. 0.4 meters per second. I need to go a bit faster than that. I can slow down once I get there. I'll slow down to like... we're not going to hard dock, we're going to slow down. 1.7 meters per second, slow down just a bit. Here we go. And grappled. Okay, transfer fuel. In. No, they're both suborbital right now. That's what's going on to NRG, right? Both spacecraft are now suborbital. Okay, so now disconnect. Release. So this thing is going to point prograde, and it's now going to perform a circularization burn. I'm going to bring the apoaps up to about 200, or the periaps up to about 250. And we're going to refuel again because I think I should have as much fuel as possible since the next place I'm going is basically Laythe, Elu. Okay, now it needs to go prograde. What a beautiful view, huh? Has 9,000 pressure hulls. How many pressure hulls does it have? Oh god, to get Infernal Robotics working on 1.3, you basically have to go to the forums and you have to look for the posts that say, download this DLL that I compiled against 1.3. It mostly works except when it doesn't. Which is, yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know. It mostly works. So that makes, basically what this does is it means that I can escape the system more easily. So, maneuver, 18 minutes. Warp to next maneuver. So I'm deliberately dropping down towards Joule so that when we escape we need a lot less delta V. That's what I'm doing. In fact, what I'm going to do is just fire prograde. What KSP version am I running? 1.31 or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to just put this here, right click on this, kill my maneuver. I'm going to bring it down to like 300. Here we go. If you had floating flags, you could also drop one in Joule as well. No, I couldn't land it. If I had flags that would survive re-entry, maybe. Oh, PHP. People hate Pearl. I actually met Larry Wall last week. We were talking about Pearl and asteroids. And bingo! 500 F5. Now I'm going to add a maneuver here. So adding a maneuver here means that I now accelerate out of the Joule system with alarming ease. Oh, and in fact I totally overcook it. I probably should have fixed my orbit a bit. I might have to do that here. I should have perhaps figured that out ahead of time. There's too many sphere of influence changes for me to make this work properly. Did you know that so the kids are talking about IG-88 in the background, and I'm going to bring in my little revelation. Did you know that IG-88's head was actually part of a jet engine? It was the flame tube of a Derwent jet engine. Yeah, IG-88, they basically, when they were doing Star Wars, they would find pieces of hardware and stuff, and they would use them in their props. So IG-88's head was actually part of an old British jet engine that was used on a Gloucester Meteor. It was also seen in the cantina scene, indeed. Okay. Again, I'm just going to shut this off and then view it when it gets to a reasonable position. I'm hoping I'm not going to have to rescue this thing in deep space. That would be really embarrassing. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. Okay. Well, so which one's further out? This one is further out here. Here we go, 4.8 degrees, and we're gonna fix this very soon. Look how close we are! I wonder if everyone will be dead when Jebediah returns because of the twin paradox. Possibly. So now... So wait a second, time to... Oh, I need rendezvous. Time to relative ascending node, 1 day, 1 hour. So I'm trying to get the relative inclination basically. That's close enough. 0.1 degrees. Okay, so now we got to figure out how to rendezvous these things. This is Elu here. So what I want to do is figure out where I can get an orbit that just touches, right? How about this? And over here. Oh, look at that! Oh, wow, look, it actually overshot a little. Okay, so let's make this burn. And then what I'm going to do for trimming the actual arrival orbit, we might have to do something interesting here, I don't know. But once I get very close... Okay, so now what I'm going to do is come back and set this to like super low thrust, so I can get this orbit very precise. It's interesting that I haven't even got the rendezvous yet, but the last 1 meter per second is what makes it happen. Like if I just cancelled when it was green, I wouldn't even get it. Whoa! Like, even at super low thrust, we're... there, thrust limits are 1% of regular thrust here. And we're over there. Oh, crap. Actually, now I look at it, that's the way I want to be, because this is the... Hold on. Yeah, this is the entrance and this is the exit. I do want to be rotating in that direction, because that's where the thing is. Okay, and it's 137 meters per second to capture. So, F5, and we have to say goodnight.
And so before we go, I just thought, given that I never got to use this, I'd put this out there. So this is the refueling thing I designed for Laythe. It is obviously a space plane, and it has a parachute-dropped rover, which is also capable of working on the surface underneath the water. Not underneath the water, but within the water. On land, air, and sea, this thing is able to refuel, and to be honest, look pretty good when it's doing it. Look at the beautiful re-entry like a phoenix flying over the landscape towards the giant green jewel. Once it gets near its target, because of course having jet engines it would have amazing cross-range capabilities, able to put the lander very near to the target, it could then descend gently under parachutes. Once it gets near the surface, parachutes of course deploy. It has reaction wheels to help maintain attitude control, because of course when you land you want to make sure you don't put all the force onto one set of wheels and break them. Now it could also land in the ocean incidentally if that was where the target was, but just to show you, it can go from the land, it can drive on the land, and then it can drive into the sea. And on the sea it has a pair of jet engines. Now that would be good for a few kilometers, but it would definitely have to get close to the target. So yes, that is how that would have worked. And you can see the next part of this probably on Tuesday night. Until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.